We are getting ready to roll in with this show. If you guys are catching this live, welcome. Glad to see you here. We got about 3 minutes, and then we're going to jump into the podcast recording like we usually do with Q&A followed up afterwards. If you are watching the replay of this, welcome. Go ahead, let me know. Hit replay squad or replay crew or the replayers. There we go. I like that idea. So just let me know something. Let me know that you were here. Dog's going crazy in the back. Hopefully somebody will take care of that so I don't have to go. But if I do, well, I will. And I'll try to be back before too long. Now, I just got to figure out what is going on here because now something doesn't want to work. I got this music kicking and I've got to license it really quick. Want to make sure that those people get paid. And honey, that browser is a pain in the butt. Let's see, what is this one? Here we go now. There we go. We'll relicense that one. And this is DM Show 008, I think. Are we on episode number 8? Sounds about right. Live streaming. No, this is not on cable television. Generate my license, and we are good to go. So yes, if you are joining in and you're hopping in on the chat, make sure you say what's up. Let me know that you are here. We should be able to kind of keep things rolling with this one today. Let's see. John saying, shouldn't things always with when you... What's it? I probably said that. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. I'm just double checking, make sure that we are streaming. Are we streaming? It looks like we're at least on the Twitter. John's there on the YouTubers, so that means we're there. Hop over to Facebook really fast, and let's see if we are. Then that means I will share that thing. Go over to my page. Facebook.com/Joshua Verwers. Don't ask me why I said that. Doesn't make any sense to me. Ooh, it looks like there is something going on there. Oh, work, not with. So, shouldn't things always work when you want it to? Yeah, yes. Things should always work. David Rowland, good to see you here as well. About to be driving home and I'll be listening but not active in the chat. Well, I am glad you let me know, so I will make sure to just ramble on like I normally do. But I'll know you're here, and that's good. Which, by the way, got any questions afterwards, let me know. I'll be following up on this stuff as well, so we should be good to go. Share to my story. I don't want to share to... I just want to write a post. And I'm live. Not lice. Autocorrect. What is up with that? I'm live. Come say hey. Don't ask me why. I don't know. And we'll do a wave. Well, that cut off abruptly, but at least we are here and we are ready to go. And I have no idea if I actually know what I'm doing today, but isn't that usually the case? The one thing I am going to make sure that I do is I'm going to minimize myself over there because it's on just a little bit of a delay, which, by the way, if you guys are joining me live and you're kind of checking this out and you're listening to it, and there is a little bit delay, I am streaming on Restream. So I'm out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and we're live. So you can join in the chat on any one of those. Just go ahead and click on the video where you see it, type something in, it'll pop up, and we'll be able to say hello, just like David here and like John that are in the chat checking things out. And we're going to get in like we have in the last couple weeks where we kind of jump straight in on that I'm calling it the podcast recording because on your favorite podcast platforms, you can listen to a condensed version of this. Basically, it is what I say and my monologue that I'm aiming for about 15 minutes, and that is without the Q&A afterwards. However, we will be getting to a Q&A, which is always beneficial because I actually think that in today's episode, It's going to be pretty interesting. These are some thoughts that I've got on how we can come up with a social media strategy for some small churches. So I think this is something that it's been practical that I've implemented in my own ministry at our church and outside of the church with just under my name. And it's a lot of simple things of basically just taking the Sunday morning messages. And so I want to jump in and I want to get into that. Again, if you got any questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, you know what to do. Drop them in the comments below. And after we get through with this little podcast recording, we will jump straight in on that. And I suppose that means hello, Genevieve. And without further ado, let's roll that intro and we will get straight in to the Digital Ministry Podcast. Hey everybody, my name is Joshua Verwers and welcome back to the Digital Ministry Podcast. This is episode number 8 and we are talking about social media for small churches. That's right, social media for small churches. What does that look like? For those that do not know, I am the pastor of a small church in Sheraton, Iowa. It's about an hour southeast-ish of Des Moines, which is the capital of Iowa. And it's when I'm talking small church, I'm talking we're kind of like under 50 is where we've been at and kind of all we've been. It's in a community of maybe 2,000, I think is where Sheraton's at. And the surrounding communities, I don't know if there's a single one that's above maybe 6,000. So it's kind of a small rural area, and I've been the pastor of that church as the lead pastor since 2014, and as an assistant pastor prior to that since about 2007, I believe, which, depending on when you're listening to this, that would kind of date me a little bit and tell you about how long I've been in pastoral ministry, but let's just say, I got a good decade under my belt. And then when it comes to social media, I have seen some of the trends come. I've seen some of them go. I've started to implement them. And it was about 2018 that I really got serious with trying to jump on the social media platforms and see what could I do to take that message that God was giving me and share it with a broader audience. And it really just came down to me understanding and my knowledge of what the Great Commission was and simplifying that, if I could, to say, go where people are at and preach about Jesus. And so that's kind of what I wanted to do. And I just wanted to go anywhere I possibly could. And that meant that it wasn't just going to be in our local community, and it wasn't just going to be around, that surrounding area. It wasn't even just going to be in the state or even in the country or even going to different areas in the physical world. It meant I was going to step out and try to do something in the digital world. And so that's what I was wanting to do, and that's what I was trying to do, and it led me down this path of really trying to check out the different social platforms. What are they doing? What do people want? What type of content are they consuming on these platforms? And how can I take that message that God has given me and wrap it up in a package on that platform to where people could enjoy it? And so that's what I want to jump in, and I want to give you guys some practical advices, some practical tips on what I'm doing and what I'm seeing. But I also want to let you know that I'm going to kind of cover as I go through here, and I'm going to go down a list, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to cover what I believe are the top 5 social media platforms as of today, March 22nd, 2021. I have come to the conclusion that the top 5 are Twitter, number 5. It is TikTok at number 4, Instagram at number 3, the YouTubes at number 2, and Facebook being number 1. And I've kind of come to this type of a idea of where this ranking system would be based on what I've observed, what I've seen, what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing other people doing, and also looking at some of the digital trend reports that have come out. And there's a great one that you can find by We Are Social and Hootsuite. It's a lot of data, But if you start to analyze through it and you look and really dive deep, I think you'll probably come to the same conclusion that I've come to, where in the last few years, it's kind of a back and forth race in number one slot between Facebook and YouTube and what they do. And YouTube's kind of this different beast when you think about a social media platform, because it's a search engine, it's a video hosting site, and it's a social media platform all wrapped into one. So it's one of those that I'm looking at that data that we get, and while I do believe there is more usage of that on any given day than what Facebook is doing, as far as it being more of the social network side, I think there's a little bit less, because I think some people are actually looking at that more as a search engine just for specific answers and not engaging as much as some of the others. Anyhow, these are my rankings. If you don't like them, let me know what yours are in the comments below. Love to hear it. All right, so let's go straight in here, and I want to go with what I believe is number 5 on this list, and I believe number 5 is going to be Twitter. And here is a practical step for those that are looking at this and watching the video replay, or that are watching video live. You're going to see on the page right now, this is my Twitter account. It's twitter.com/Joshua Verwers. And the two that I have on here, one of them I just posted 15 minutes ago before we went live. This is actually one of those main points that I took from my sermon notes. And last week, the Sunday morning message, we were talking about questions that Jesus asked. And one of those questions was, why are you so afraid? You know, the disciples in the boat, and there's that big storm that's brewing, and Jesus is in the back and he's sleeping. And so one of those little points that I just wanted to make was that I would rather be in a storm with Jesus than in the calm without him. And that is a tweetable sentence. That is a quotable tweet, or a tweetable quote, whatever you want to put. One of the biggest things I think that you could do for a simple strategy for your Sunday morning message is to take some of those quotes, some of those points, some of those main ideas that you've got, and sprinkle them throughout the week on Twitter. Twitter is short characters. It used to be 140 characters or less. Now it's about 280 characters or less. And when I go through my Twitter feed, it is mostly text. So there are some links, there are some pictures, but the vast majority is text. So one of the easiest ways to do that is just to do that. And from my experience on Twitter, being on the platform here for a while, I think it says that I joined in October of 2014. Some of the biggest responses that I have gotten have just been from those statements. Right above this is a pinned tweet I've got, which has gotten, 37 likes, 10 shares, and I just changed that last month, or back in January, and that was, if you'll fix your thoughts on God, God will fix your thoughts. These are just those little sticky statements that sometimes we as pastors will put in there. But even if you go beyond that, some of the other stuff that I'll do is I'll just put the scripture that I used, some of those scripture notes that I've got, sprinkle those throughout. And so just throughout the week, you can send some short text out there. It can be a thought, it can be a point, it can be, that phrase, that quote that you want to put in there. Sometimes as we're studying, we find all of these extra quotes that we would love to add in. We'd love to be able to sprinkle some of those quotes throughout our sermon, but we realize if we put all of them in, well, now we've got way too much. These type of text-based posts are a great place for all of that extra stuff that just doesn't fit into your Sunday message that you're already preparing and you're filtering through. Sprinkle them throughout. And you can either do this like I've done both, where leading up to the sermon, I'm sprinkling some of these thoughts and some of these scriptures, and then afterwards, I'm kind of sprinkling them throughout, which is almost that repetition that really helps people and gets them to think and process that, and maybe just kind of pull in that message and adapt it in their lives a little bit better. So number 5 on the list, I'm saying, is Twitter. And one of the easiest things you do is just take some of those sermon notes, sermon thoughts, main ideas, and just tweet them out. Pretty simple and basic thing. All right, number 4 on my list, I'm going to say, is the TikTok. And the TikTok, I just noticed that I've got this weird overlay that's kicking on here. And so TikTok, if you're not familiar with it, where have you been? What rock have you been hiding under? We're basically talking about short form vertical videos under 60 seconds. And most of them under about 15. And I've seen a lot of success lately with those that are even shorter than that. So what I want to do is I want to play through this one that I've got here. Hopefully all of the audio and everything is going to work great for you guys that are listening. And this is just one of them that I had posted, I don't even know when, but it's kind of it was basically the exact same theory that we're talking about with the Twitter, where I had this thought that I wanted to share. But what I wound up doing with that is then I got home, I set up the camera, and I just recorded me saying that thought. Now, granted, I like editing. I love video editing, so I added a little bit of something in there. But you don't even need to do that. Set up your phone and just record a quick 15, 20-second video of you saying that same thought. Great way to get these little bite-sized, messages back out there. And here's one that I'll just play it real quick. It's what it looked like. And yet, Jesus told us that in those moments, what we really need to do is just watch out and pray. So, do just that. That's all that thing was. It was just as simple as me just saying, hey, Jesus told us to watch and pray. And it was just a little thought that I had based on the scripture, wanted to throw it up there, and it wound up getting some traction. One of the other things that I've found lately that has been very successful is just taking some of the Bible verses that are out there and just sharing a quick little thought on that. Like here's one from yesterday for you real quick, just to give you a thought. Here's what yesterday sounded like, and at this point, it's not even been 24 hours, and it's got 2,500 views on it. Do not stop praying. Yeah, that's it. Do not. Sometimes it is as simple as just doing that. It really can be as simple as that. And some of the comments and some of the replies that I'll get back from things like this are people that are saying, I read that verse earlier today and I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I'm not sure what that meant, but then I prayed and I saw this video. Thank you so much for the answer. Some of these things that we as ministers can take for granted, where it's just a simple thought and it's a reinforcement. Sometimes it's like, don't stop praying. It's really as simple as that, because too often, as you know, sometimes we'll overcomplicate things. So that may be a quick, easy way for you to use TikTok. And there's other, different aspects like that where we've talked about this in the past, YouTube Shorts, as well as Instagram Reels, short vertical videos. Take those tweetable thoughts, take those little scriptures, give a quick little, commentary on it if you want to. It is simple. It is easy. One of the other things that I have seen others doing on here on TikTok that I haven't done, but it is a great idea, and there has been a lot of response, is other pastors I've seen, other Christians that I've seen that have just hopped on there and recorded a quick 60-second prayer. And all they'll do is just kind of come up to their phone and say, hey, I just want to pray for you guys real quick. And then they just say a prayer. And for many people, that may be the only prayer that they've received that day, they've received that week, they've received their life. So that's just another way that we can wind up using some of these social platforms to really try to get that message that God has given us. And so if you're already kind of preparing that stuff, how easy is that to take it and just add to it? All right, let me jump over here on the next one. This would be number 3 on my list. It is the one and only Instagram. I gave this this message a couple years back at our annual conference, and it's actually on this podcast as well. It's the Social Media Simplified talk about why we would want to do this stuff. And all I did in here was, after we were done, I just grabbed my camera and I set it up and took a picture of myself. Threw a little bit of text on there in a really quick photo editing app. I think that might have even been, I don't know, I might have even done like Canva or something on that. I can't remember how I erased that, but I know while I was there, I was talking to him about using Canva because it's a free photo editing app. And it's really one of those things that you can just take a quick picture. Another thing that you can do is, if you're also recording your messages, your Sunday morning messages, here's another example of something that I did where I took that message that I was giving, and this is like meta. You ready for this one? This is a meta share. If you've got it, what you're seeing is a screenshot, and this screenshot was from one of our Facebook Lives that we were doing back in the day when we were using the cell phone, and it was just sitting in the front row. And then I wound up taking my tweet that I had used, where it's pride makes excuses, humility makes adjustments. and I copied that tweet and I threw it on top of this photo, and I wound up sharing that over on Instagram with just a few extra thoughts and some scriptures. And to do that once or twice a week, you can take this from your Sunday morning message. You've already got it prepared. It's not like you've got to study and look for a bunch of more, ideas on this. It's just kind of quick and easy. I've already created it. I've already made it. Here's how I can take this and then spread it across on different platforms. So that would be my recommendation for, Instagram. Instagram is a photo-based app. If you aren't familiar with it, again, what rock are you living under? Take a quick photo, something like that. It's a simple and easy way that you can take your Sunday morning message, get a quick photo of yourself, get a quick photo, maybe it's of your Bible while you're still up at the platform or your podium, and you snap a quick picture of it. You snap a quick picture of your notes and everything, and then you just drop in a little caption on it. It doesn't require a lot of extra work for what you're doing. You do that once or twice a week, and all of a sudden you're taking that message that you created for Sunday morning and you're expanding it onto more platforms with very minimal effort. And again, this is coming from a small church pastor, and I understand the pains of small church ministry where you don't have a lot of resources and you don't have a lot of, personnel to be able to really kind of help with some of this stuff. But with some minimal effort, you can start to do this stuff. All right, here's another one. We're going to go on to my number 2 platform, and this one is YouTube. Now, if you guys are not already video recording your service, you need to start video recording your service. Just start doing it. There's no excuses. You got a cell phone, grab that cell phone, record it. If you've got a nice camera, record it. If you don't have a nice camera, record it. If you don't have any of that stuff, start asking the people in your congregation if somebody has it. You record those messages, invest in just a simple microphone. It doesn't have to be anything too fancy. Just get some good audio, some decent video, and then what you have is you now have that message and you can start to use it in different ways. One of the best ways I think that churches could start using that, especially on YouTube, is if you think about their Sunday morning messages, sometimes you've got multiple points, break those up into little clips and you can sprinkle that throughout the day. If there's kind of one of those main idea points that you could get across, all right, condense that down into it. Or if you want to go a little bit above and beyond, you could do something like what I'm doing here on the YouTube channel, and I'm trying to create these vlogs. Now, this is an example of how me recording my Sunday morning message, and I just recorded it. It was already recorded. It was sitting there. My wife is doing a vlog. We did a spouse vlog swap, and here's an example of how we wound up taking what she was creating for a vlog and then wound up using that little sermon clip.
Or then I just wanted to say that during the service, there was something that Pastor Josh said that really stuck out to me, which it's not about perfection, it's about progression.
I don't have to be perfect in everything. It's not about perfection, it's about progression. It's about trying to get better. And I can't make my life better because Jesus already did that.
I always think
this was just an example of how Genevieve was talking and giving her her day, basically covering her day, just kind of doing a day in the life type of a vlog. And part of that was being at church. Well, then she just wound up giving a little bit of thought on that. And this is something that I've done quite often myself with my own vlogs. And it doesn't have to be on a Sunday. It can be throughout the week, because here I am, and just throughout the week, I'm just kind of talking about something that happened at church. And then it was like, oh, wait, you remember, Josh, you were preaching on Sunday and you just said this one thing. That would be a perfect insert for this vlog. And then I'll just grab that because I've recorded the message and then put it in. And when you're already preaching, you've already prepared the message. To record it, very minimal effort. And even if you're doing this on like a Facebook Live or something, there are different apps that are out there where you could basically just go back in, watch it, and screen record a little bit. Stuff like OBS would be a great one. It's a live streaming platform, but you can use that to kind of screen record. And you'd be able to do that even if you weren't recording the service itself, but you just live streamed the service and you wanted to grab that one little clip. Easy way, kind of take it, download it, and then throw it into a video like this. Just another way that you can use what you've already created. What for? Yeah, for social media purposes. All right. Now, let's get on to number one, what I believe is kind of the current behemoth of the group, and that would be Facebook. And apparently, I did not even scroll down on this. So what I'm going to try to do here is, if I can, I'm going to try to scroll back on this, but I'll set this up. So this post that I'm trying to get and I'm trying to look for, it was in May of last year. So this was during the lockdown, during the quarantine here in Iowa. The recommendation was churches, even of our size, the small churches, we shouldn't be meeting in person. They wanted us to kind of still do that. So we were just following those local guidelines. But one of the posts that we did in just kind of prepping people and getting them ready for the Sunday service, it was one of the most popular posts that we had posted on Facebook the entire year. Like in the last year, one of the top ones. It is the most popular one that wasn't video itself. And part of that, those video numbers are a little skewed for me because we wound up boosting a couple of those posts, so we paid for some of that extra reach. This one was not boosted. This one was all organic, and it got quite a bit of attention. And the Sunday we were leading into, I was heading over to my grandma's, and we were just going to be sitting around her kitchen table, and we were just going to be talking about basically the previous Sunday's message, because as I had been preaching it, she had some thoughts. She called me afterwards, and I told her, hold on, save that. I'm going to come over, and we're going to record this, and that will be next Sunday's message. And so while we're there and we're sitting at the table, I believe I had my son with me, and I told him, hey, grab my phone real quick and just take a quick picture. And so that's exactly what wound up happening. And as the computer is slowly getting there, wow, we had a whole lot of posts and we're almost there. As we were getting there, this is the photo. This is the picture that we wound up having right here. And so this was May 23rd of last year. And it says, we've got a great message lined up for you tomorrow morning. Apparently there was a typo. It's morning, not morning. And you won't want to miss it. So join us live at 10:30 right here. That post right there, me and my grandma just sitting there. You can see we got the camera, we got the softbox, we're ready to go. We're ready to kind of just dive into the Word and start studying this out for the Sunday morning message. But while we were already there doing what we did, take a photo. The same thing can happen with you and your sermon prep. So for a pastor that's already doing his prep, I mean, just, you got your phone right there. If you're sitting down at the church at your office, if you're at home in your desk and you're just kind of, you got your Bibles, you got your concordances, you got, logo software up on the computer, everything is going. Grab that phone, take a quick picture, and then just convey a little bit of how excited you are for the message that you're about to deliver this weekend to build a little bit of anticipation. And it's not any harder than that. While you're already there, it just takes a moment. Pull yourself aside, grab that phone, and drop that in there. That is what I'm thinking are some great and simple ways, as well as showing you guys how I have actually done that. These are practical things that I have done on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Just taking what I've already prepared on a Sunday morning and then putting it out there on the other social media platforms. If you can start to come up with this type of a strategy and how you can implement it on the platforms that you really feel God is calling you to, it then becomes so much easier to try to recruit some of those volunteers in your church. And even if you've got somebody that you notice somebody that in the church, they're always on Instagram and they're active on Instagram and they take the great photos with great filters and their captions are they're amazing. Ask them if they would be willing to kind of, manage the church's Instagram account and let them know. All I really need you to do is just take some notes of a couple of the quotes that I've got, maybe some of the scripture that I use around those quotes, snap a couple photos during the church service, and then post those. That would be easy, not too difficult. And especially when if you've got some younger ones that are in the church, some of those youth, It's a great way to really try to enable them to help out and start to use the things that they're already familiar with and they know how to do it. And then you've just kind of created this guideline for how to kind of operate in that way, how to take that Sunday message, how to take your sermon and turn it into a social media post. So I hope those kind of helped you guys out. If you have got some other ideas, I would love to hear them. Let me know down in the comments below. Okay, now let's get to some of these comments, shall we? Some of these questions and comments. I appreciate you guys sticking around through that monologue. I want to give some quick shout outs here as we go through. Pastor Mike Holloman, good to see you. He's saying, isn't TJ Hawkinson from Sheraton? I don't know. I know he's from, I mean, obviously he's from Iowa, and I was thinking he was in the Southern Iowa. He might be. I mean, that sounds kind of familiar, but I don't know. Yeah, the tight end for the Lions, and a great tight end. Yeah, now. Velocity Church saying, I definitely rank better on Facebook. Yeah, Pastor Dean, Facebook especially, and here's one of the other things. I think too often we can get caught into some of the analytics on things. Like if I pull up my views right now, and I'm doing these short vertical videos, TikTok far surpasses Instagram, which far surpasses YouTube. But I don't know exactly how they measure views. And even with our traditional sermons and videos that we wind up doing, what have we got? I mean, I don't know. I really think part of it is just being consistent and showing up. And when you're consistent and you show up, then people will learn that you're going to be continuing to show up, and then they'll show up with you. So that's kind of one of those things. But if your people are on Facebook, you should definitely be on Facebook trying to, encourage them a little bit more, reach out to them. If you're wanting to go beyond just your people and where they're at, man, that's where I would definitely say that looking at the other platforms, which, I mean, you have, so that's kind of what I would do. Kathy saying, hey, Kathy, not sure if you're still with me, but hello. So good to see you there as well. Let's see. Yeah, Mike saying, I think the hardest part of what you are preaching is consistency. It is, and that's where, that social media talk that I kind of referenced, I think it was Social Media Simplified. I kind of use the Moses journey, the Exodus journey, to start where you're at, use what you've got, and do what you can. And only after you've done that should you then go somewhere else, like go where you haven't and do what you can't. But you got to start where you're at first. And so I think there's this kind of cycle where you'll build upon it and you kind of build these layers, but it's starting on that first platform where you're at and then going. And like I said, at the top of this, I've been on the social platform since 2018, at least really giving it a focused effort. I've been on, social media a lot longer than that, but giving it a focused effort of really looking at this as a digital ministry, or maybe a digital missionary type of a deal. That focus really came in May of 2018, and I started on YouTube. And once I got the hang of YouTube, then I added in Instagram, and I started using that a little bit more. I had Twitter, and I was kind of using it, but more for personal use. And then I think it was actually last year sometime that I really started giving even Twitter a real focused effort, because I was always watching and looking at stuff, but not sharing a whole lot. And then I just started to get more consistent on it. Facebook page, I'm kind of up and down on doing stuff with that. Last year we had a lot of effort that we put in, at least on the church's side of that, because that's kind of where our people were. So it's just starting. And then just recently, it was February, I think, that I really started making a go at it with TikTok. So agree, there is the consistency aspect where you just kind of, you got to start, you got to keep going. And once you've kind of created that consistent, output, then all of a sudden you can build on it because you start to get into a groove. Vaughn saying, so clutch, screenshot the sermon with a snippet of that message. I've been making things too hard. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. I'm hoping next week, Maybe even Wednesday for the Vlogpasters podcast, you're going to see it. So you, as you guys can see down below here, down below Vaughn, I got the Buy Me a Coffee link, and that's a widget overlay that if anybody wants to support what I'm doing, get more of this, keep my stuff coming, buymeacoffee.com/Joshua Verwers. And that widget overlay, when somebody gives a donation there, it's supposed to have this pop-up that would be like over my head. And I haven't had it happen when the live stream's going because I've killed that off too early. But I had it to where it has a custom sound that goes through as well. And I've got a custom sound, and then I'm going to add in a custom image. And I'm hoping to get that done for Wednesday. Maybe, but part of that is that screenshot thing. Like, I was looking back through one of my old videos, one of my live streams actually, and I'm like, man, all I need is this 6-second clip. That's all I need. I just need a face. I just need a sound. I just need that little bit, but I didn't want to have to download the entire, sermon or the entire live stream. I didn't want to go back through and try to trim it all out. So I just pulled up YouTube and OBS and just screen recorded that one little thing. Yeah, simple stuff. So definitely, yeah, check that one out. And by the way, as I was going to say, Pastor Mike, when it comes to the preaching and the consistency, Vaughn was over on Instagram and we were talking about editing. And so my editing, when I started out, I was probably putting 6 to 8 hours in for a vlog. I would say it was averaging probably 1 hour of editing for every minute of finished video that I had. And now, yeah, it's a world's difference. So now I'm down to about an hour of editing total. So it's just like, I get it all done. And I did that. I've done a couple of them. I'm hoping to do some more over on my Twitch channel, just because I've already saturated the YouTube feed quite a bit, but at least over on Twitch, it's just live streaming my editing. And I've done it a couple times, and it has been right at an hour. And those were ranging between, I think, 4 and 8 minute vlogs. But consistency, I think I'm really close to 350 uploads on YouTube. So when you put out 100, fully edited videos a year, you're bound to speed that process up. So when it comes to the consistency of, you start putting some stuff on whatever platform we're on, the more we do it, the more consistent we're doing it, the more people will know to show up to receive that. And then the faster we get with that workflow. And the same will be with our volunteers as well. The more they start to do it, the better they're going to become at it. So definitely do that. Saying Canva is a great resource. Absolutely. Yeah. Canva. So important. So important. Pastor Dean, are you using the transcription feature in Premiere to create your captions? Actually, yes. Now here on, like, if you're watching captions right now, no, because these are all live stream, but what I've been doing is not only using it for the captions when I'm putting text on the videos, I'm doing it for the upload captions, the closed captioning that's going to to Facebook. Started uploading vlog style sermons again last week. I just use the transcription service for that. But in addition to that, like with the digital ministry podcast episodes for the last 2 weeks, I've trimmed those down in the video and then ran the transcription service and then converted that, once I have a transcript, into a blog post. So I'm going above and beyond. Again, it's all about the work that I'm already doing. How can I use that, and how can I basically have a multi-purpose to it? I don't want to have to recreate the wheel on everything. So if I can take this and repurpose what I'm already doing, why not? David, lots of value here. That's what I love hearing. So appreciate that. Christine, thank you. Your videos are always informative. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for stopping by and leaving me that comment. I love it. Vaughn, question. When you're putting together your message, do you have in mind what you'll want to snip or reuse on the various platforms? Not really. And that's just poor planning on my part. I will say that, like, with some of those tweetable, phrases, that's stuff that I'm kind of crafting as I'm prepping the message, that sticky statement. And when I'm trying to do that, I'm thinking, what would look good, sound good, and be biblically accurate that I can put on Twitter? And so it's like, if this will work, perfect. I don't overthink it too much. And if it doesn't rhyme, if it doesn't have a good flow, I don't care. If it hits the point, then I'm good. Like, one of the sticky statements that I used for probably what many of my church would say is the most popular sermon that I've preached: God is good. And I tweeted that out. Like, it's one of the most basic things that you could possibly do, and yet it was that powerful. It really had an impact. So some of that stuff I do, and then other stuff, like, when I'm really getting focused on some of the tweets that I'll put out that have scripture, I'm always thinking, like, in the sermon and the flow of the sermon, and how long is this going to go? Is this just extra fluff? Yes, this is another scripture that would reinforce the point, but when I've already got 4 of them, do I really need 8 of them? And at that point, those extra ones, that's where I'll start to look at the ones that I think have the biggest impact, and I'll leave them in. And then the others that would still reinforce it, well, then I kind of look at that stuff. And I do use other apps to kind of schedule some of that stuff out, which is another thing that we'll talk about in a future episode of the Digital Ministry Podcast, is scheduling some of this stuff, which then becomes very valuable. So as you're prepping and you're starting to write the sermon out, and it's like, oh, this would be a great tweet. Well, I'll go ahead, and at that point, I'll schedule it out for the following week or for a couple days later, something like that. So that's some of the stuff that I'll do. And I've done that with even taking photos of my setup and then send that out, using like a later for Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So definitely something that I'm not super intentional about doing it, but as I'm doing it, and it's like, oh, this would be a good post, this would be a good tweet, this would be a great video, then I'll do it. But I don't think about it as a forethought, just more of an afterthought. Mike's saying, I generally have a sticky statement for the overall message, but yes, sometimes I do plant messages like this. Yeah. I love the sticky statements. I love stuff like that, but yeah, it's just, man, if we can, there's so much content, and that's, for those of us in, small church ministry, which is what, 85% of all churches. I think it's 93% of all churches, and 85 is the under 200 aspect of it. Maybe it's even more than that, or maybe that's under 75. I can't remember. Regardless, the majority of ministers out there are serving in a small church, and they're often the only paid staff, if paid at all, to do some of this stuff. And then even in those that are, a little bit larger or medium, where they've got multiple, you're still limited on the amount of bodies and the amount of time that you can do it. So if we can use some of this stuff, like you're saying, repurposing it, man, why not? And mega churches, bigger churches, it's easier because you got different people that are running it. You've got people that are social media managers just for that. And that's what they do. But with us just kind of thinking about how we can take what we're already doing with minimal added effort to repurpose it, that's where I think we start to have that bigger impact and really expand that reach, even when God's, called us into a small church ministry. So saying, I agree with the repurposing sermons. I've also heard from people such as Brady Shearer that you should post unique content for each platform, or people may stop paying attention. Yeah, so I'm kind of, I'm back and forth with people like Brady Shearer on this. I agree to a certain sense, but then I disagree in a completely other sense. Like, I'm posting my shorts on my shorts, my short vertical videos. I'm posting them on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube. And I have people that follow me, but not on any of those platforms. And they'll primarily follow me only on Twitter or only on Facebook. And unless I post that same thing over there, they'll never see it. So there's something to that. But even with that being said, when you're trying to grow those platforms and those channels, that's where it becomes a problem. Because if I post it on Facebook, or if I post it on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, the people that prefer Twitter are not going to watch it at all on Instagram or YouTube. The people that prefer YouTube are not going to watch it on either of the others. The people that watch it on Instagram are not going to watch it on either of the others. So that's where I do think that people will stop paying attention, but those are the people that are on multiple platforms. Whereas the ones that are only on that platform, they won't. That being said, I do think that when we're reposting stuff, what we should be doing is making it platform specific. So like right now, I'm doing this on YouTube. I'm doing this on Twitter. I'm doing this on Facebook. I'm not doing the exact same thing over on, the audio only podcasts. They're not going to get this. If they want the audio or the Q&A section, they're going to have to come over here. Starting this week, I'm going to actually start taking these podcast episodes, the video section of it, and I'm going to start putting that over on LinkedIn, but it's just going to be that video only. And if they want the other stuff, well, then they'll have to go over. So it's a way of taking and kind of repurposing some of that stuff on different platforms, but making sure that it is platform specific. If that made sense, I think. David, what is the easiest way to download Facebook Live videos? I've found some ways, but most are a multi-step process. Yeah, so there's not a good way of doing it, unless, like, if you did it. So I might even be able to pull this up. Let me see if I can show you here. Facebook. Let's see. Make sure I'm logged in. So sometimes when I do stuff like this, it will freeze me up quite a bit. Let's say it is actually my page. We'll go to the church's page. And there should be a way inside here, especially on the desktop. So I'm going to go over here on the left. Will be publishing tools, and then it kind of takes you out here to this, I guess, creator type page. And I believe in here, if I remember right, you can actually go in to that and wind up downloading it. Although if we're talking about a live, maybe I should have went over to, instead of this, because we don't do lives on the church. Let me go over to my page, because then I should be able to at least show on last week's live stream. But I'm pretty sure there is a way that you can go in there. Where are we at? Publishing tools. Pull up some of these comments while I'm doing that as well. Dean saying, I was curious about the captions you did on TikTok. Was that done through... Yes. So the ones that I were doing on TikTok when I first started dropping those, yes, that was all done in Premiere Pro, because I can transcribe the audio and then immediately create captions from that. Okay, so I'm in the videos library here. Oh, go to Creator Studio. Fine, I'll go to Creator Studio. But yes, Dean, that was exactly how I did it. Just the transcription. It auto-transcribes. Once I've got the transcription there, it says create captions from, and then I just created a subtitle caption. Did it however I wanted to do it at that point. Okay, so, hey, look, we're still live. This one, if I go over there, I think I might have to go into the post. Tectonic, good to see you. How you been? Glad to see you here as well. Let's see, kind of some live. No. I want to view the post because I think that's where I found it. Or is it on this settings? Nope, not there. View post. The last time I tried to download a Facebook video, I'll say, David, was right in on here, and it gave me the option to download it directly from here. It took forever, and it's not necessarily the greatest quality. Let's pause that. So I don't see it on here anymore, and I don't know if they had moved that. But yeah, there was a way immediately in here to download the video, so they might have moved that. What I would suggest, honestly, and even if they did that, it's a little bit longer. So you can do the multi-step process, which is going to be quick. So that multi-step process that, you find and that you can use, that's going to be the fastest way to do it. The easiest way is going to basically screen record. So if you're wanting the whole video, multi-step process is what I would recommend. If you're wanting just, like a minute or two of it, that's where I would say use something like OBS. And then you basically just do a display capture with the system audio. And then you're going to just hit start record, hit play on it, let it go. And then in any kind of a video editor, you can trim off the front and the back, and there you have it. So that's what I would say. Yeah, Mike saying they now offer an HD or an SD option. Yeah, so the HD and SD, and this is the one thing I get a little upset with Facebook about. Even most of their HD is only 720, which bothers me because I'm like, HD, stop calling it HD. And yes, I know they're saying, well, it's not full HD because that would be 1080p. But at this point, I mean, come on. You can stream in 4K on YouTube. I don't know why they can't up it a little bit on. Anyhow, that's what they got. Okay, so go back in here. Yes, we created a general church account, Otley Johnson, and then can download the videos that he uploaded. Yeah. Josh's recommendation works as well. Something you posted on your church page. There you go. There you go. And, well, Dean is saying you can download the video from Facebook by right-clicking it. Well, if that works, which I'm not saying it doesn't, I just can't remember. Here's how often, I mean, I'm on Facebook, but typically when I'm on Facebook, what I'm often doing is I'm just kind of just posting stuff through something else. So, but saying it works, and it might very well. I'm not seeing the option, at least on mine yet. But it's probably there. Although at the same time, I'm also back and forth between Mac and PC. So, but yeah, if you've got OBS, that's what I would say. Just those short little clips, OBS is a great way to do it. I love doing that. Simple and easy. Especially for just a couple minutes that you're wanting. Plus with that, you get to set the resolution and size. So it typically performs better if you pull it up into like a full screen and then you do a screen record on that. Otherwise, just trying to download it from Facebook, sometimes you do have issues with that. So, but yeah, the right click doesn't seem. All right, Mike saying, how do you avoid gimmicky on social media? I'll need you to define gimmicky a little bit better. And if you can use something that I have done that you would consider gimmicky, that's even better. So if you can give me an example, I would love that. One other thing I wanted to get to, and I had this comment earlier I haven't fully processed or thought this one through, but I did get a text message earlier today, and while I'm waiting for Mike to kind of clarify that, it was a message from somebody asking about YouTube. Said, question, looking at starting a YouTube channel for kind of daily life fitness inspiration. Give me some recommendations on camera, computer, editing software. There's the budget. So here's the general rule that I would do and I would give on starting out, especially with a YouTube channel. Audio, video, lighting. You could go audio, lighting, video. I would typically say invest in your audio first and foremost, then invest in the camera, and then the lighting. And the reason I would put lighting last is because you can always use daylight. And with a good enough camera, you can use the lighting that you've got around as long as you can set the white balance on it. Even, tungsten lights will work fine. You don't need, LED panels. You don't need big pro lightings. So audio is going to be the biggest thing. And depending on, how you're going to be use it, that's the thing. If you're just going to be setting like right here, you don't need, this is ridiculously expensive $400 microphone that takes a $500 board to even make it work. You don't need all that. One of my favorite microphones sitting over there is the Rode Video Micro. And it's, I think $60, $70, something like that. It's just a tiny little shotgun mic. And even for a lot of this type of talking head stuff that I'll do for the YouTube channel, I will use that as well. And I'll just put it on my, just like a cheap microphone boom arm that I think I bought for $10, $15 off of Amazon. And then it gets it close. That's the one thing with the microphones, the closer to the mouth, the better. And that's why a lot of like TV shows, they've got the big boom poles. So the microphone is right out of the screen where you can't see it, but it's still, 6-9 inches away from their mouth. So to do something like that would help. That's why you see a lot of vloggers with a microphone sitting on top of the camera. I would say audio is going to be your big thing. Go straight for audio if you can. Invest in some good audio. If you've got a little rig like you're going to be able to do that, Rode Video Micro is the one I would definitely say to go. If you're going to have multiple people on there and kind of doing, podcasts talking back and forth, that's where I would say you might want to look at something else and maybe then going to like wireless, maybe even like lavalier style. I think the favorite one that I'm liking right now is the Rode Wireless Go 2. Not only because they're great little microphones and they sound great, but they also have some built-in recording. So that would be kind of the recommendation. As far as cameras go, see, that's where you're really going to get into, and about half your budget's going to have to go to at least a camera, depending on where your budget's at. I would recommend for somebody doing fitness and action type stuff, getting an extra camera. So one of the newer GoPros, if you're going to go, get the new GoPro. If you're going to be doing any type of outdoor activities, getting something with that max mod lens that basically it has a horizon lock on it. So no matter how many times you spin it and roll, it's all going to stay the same. That would be something that I would recommend for something like that. And you're probably looking at, $500 off the top of my head with all of that. If you're looking at a little bit more and you'd like something that you can carry, more of like a rig like I've got, Sony ZV-1. It's a point and shoot camera. It can work as a webcam by plugging it into your computer so you can do live streaming like this with some high quality. The lens on it is a really good focal range for it. I really like the Sony ZV-1. It's going to be my next purchase that I would have. And that one, I think you can get them for around $750, $800. And then as far as, computer stuff, man, computer's hard. There's the dog. PCs, if you can build your own, PC is a great way to go. If you don't build your own, or if you have to stay in the Mac ecosystem, I've been really impressed with the new Mac M1 Mini. That thing is really impressive. It is a workhorse. Those silicone-based chips, impressive. So that would be something to definitely look into as well. And I think you can pick those up starting around $650. It kind of gives you an idea. And then as far as editors, here's the hard part for me. When it comes to an editing, I'm Premiere. I'm Adobe across the board on everything. I love it. I think that it's the best one out there. So I like it. Now, Mac doesn't like to play doesn't play too well with it. I've heard that the new M1 chips are doing very good, but the problem with Adobe, with Premiere and that Creative Cloud that you've got, it's expensive and it's a monthly fee. If you don't want the monthly fee, if you want something that works great natively and is a little bit easier to learn, but still kind of a workhorse, Final Cut for a Mac would be great. Or you go with DaVinci Resolve is free across the board, works on Mac, works on PC. There is going to be a steeper learning curve, but it's free. And did I mention that it's free? So that would be kind of be some of that stuff. So there you go. Mike, I still don't know what you meant about gimmicky. So what do you mean? How do you avoid gimmicky on social media? You're talking to a former professional wrestler, so when you say the word gimmick, it has a completely different meaning for me. Gimmicky, okay. Wait, hold on. What am I missing? Am I missing a comment here? I'm looking. It seems like I'm missing something. Maybe it was there a post that didn't go through over on YouTube? Let me see. I'll go in this way. If I can get in. Try to go into the studio dashboard. Let's see in here. See if there was something that you had shared. Nope. What am I missing? I know I'm missing something here. I just don't know what I'm missing. Yep, you got me. That was made on Canva for those interested. Yeah, I don't know what it. I don't think it's letting that go through for some reason. So I wonder if it just caught it. Let's see. Go back into the studio. I'm guessing it probably had a link in here somewhere, and YouTube just kind of held it if it was on YouTube. I don't know, but if you've got that, send it over to me. We'll try to figure this out. And I'd love to be able to answer the gimmicky, but I'm not quite sure what that was. And can you unblur censored cartoons? I don't know why anybody would want to unblur a censored cartoon. If it's been censored, it's probably for a reason, so I would leave it alone. Plus, don't you have better things to do at the office? Just saying. All right. Anywho, I think that's going to kind of wrap us up for this week. Again, as always, if you guys have got any questions, comments, let me know. Love to hear from you guys. And I suppose, Mike, I'll get a hold of you and figure out what I'm missing on here. And until then, stay blessed. Enjoy God's best.